And yes, recording in progress. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the November 2021 Jupyter Community Call. This will be our last one for the year, and we have officially had a year of returned community calls. So that is awesome. I'm excited, at least. It's been great to spend the last year with y'all and see what you're working on, sharing what things you remember from the past. We've had a lot of good looks back on that. But there's a few things I need to say before we get started. First of all, this is a Jupyter community event. We are held to the Jupyter Code of Conduct here. You can find that anytime at jupyter.org/conduct. We also are recording this meeting. You already heard that, but just so anyone knows listening to this in the future that these calls are always recorded. Do with that what you may. I believe we haven't had anyone add since, so I won't link the agenda notes again, but I'll be keeping an eye on that. If you haven't been here before, welcome. You are always welcome, new or returning or haven't been here in a while because I've been super busy. And yay! A quick rundown of what we're going to be doing in case you haven't been here before. We have an agenda and notes document. People have signed up ahead of time. We'll just be following that in order of items. I'll be trying to watch the time to make sure that we get through to everyone. So people will share what they have and we'll discuss. It's kind of just a big show and tell. But the first things first, actually, is we have short reports, celebrations, and shout outs. So these are quick things that don't require discussion, but people want to celebrate or let people know. We do have one of these. Oh, Loic, are you ready to celebrate? This looks like a celebration.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, we have this extension, Jupyter Lab H5 Web, to open HDF5 file in Jupyter Lab. So I can show you just a small glimpse of it.
Awesome. We're seeing the agenda. Is that what you can do? Okay,
it
good.
froze for a second.
Just checking.
Okay. And so basically HDF5 if you don't know, it's like a file system in a single file. So you have groups that act as folders, and you store your data in data sets that you can see as the files in your file system. So you can imagine that this is when you have a big file like this, it's kind of difficult to explore and know exactly what kind of data you have inside. So that's why we have this Jupyter Lab H5 Web Extension, where basically you can open a file and then have access to the data sets that are stored in the file. And then, so this one, you can see this metric visualization, so you can see the data as a metric, but there are more interesting ones, perhaps. Let's say this one. Yeah, where we have, we can have some complex visualizations and some line visualization, heat map visualization, basically all kind of visualization that you would expect for n-dimensional datasets. And this extension, it has been in development for quite a while now. And we had a version for Jupyter Lab 2. And lately, we have a version 1.0 that brings support for Jupyter Lab 3 as a pre-built extension. So that means that you only need to install it with pip install Jupyter Lab H5 Web to have it in your Jupyter Lab, which is super handy. And we have still a lot of features that are added into this. I'm not going to go into the detail of all the features that we add. It's still in active development. We are still supporting also the Jupyter Lab 2 extension, because this is what we have here at ESRF, and we want to continue supporting the Jupyter Lab 2 extension. And yeah, well, that's it. That's all that I had to say about it. And if you are interested, just you can contact me, get in touch, or just try the extension. Tell us how it went. We are quite interested to have feedback from outside ESRF as well. So yeah, that's all.
Fantastic, congrats. And that's been really awesome seeing updates on that every month or couple of months. Yeah.
I must say that pre-built extension is really, really, really great. And I want to congratulate all the people that are involved in this, because now that I've moved to the pre-built extension, it's really hard to go back. I mean, it's really great to have just pip install and then it just works, you know. So it's really awesome.
I think we've got some people who worked on that on this call, but regardless, I can bring that over to Jupyter Lab meetings too. I think they'll be very happy to hear that. So thank you. Next on the list, we have Nick.
Hi guys, how's everybody? Just a quick note, we busted through the last some of the last two pieces that kept Jupyter Light from being fully self-contained. So you can put custom wheels in, you can put your math jacks in there, so there are no assets that it draws from external CDNs. This now makes it archival grade. So you'd be able to, you know, put your dissertation Jupyter Lab environment that runs in the browser on a CD, and it'll open up as long as that CD is readable media and you can start a web browser. So there's one last piece that's not automated, and that's getting 178 megabytes of Pyodide. And maybe there's some way we can figure out to not need all of that. Like, do you always need scikit-learn? I don't know. But with that, you know, that'll be a thing. Like, that will be a real actual feature, a real system that is not going to fall over tomorrow because the internet hates you. And so, you know, we thank all the folks that have used it along the way. That's about it.
That's about it. That's fantastic, Nick. Congrats. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one really excited about that. That's amazing.
Well, so to put it in context, there was going to be a demo, and I couldn't get the demo work because we didn't get the Jupyter Server Proxy release out. Oh yeah, Jupyter Server Proxy 3.2.0 dropped yesterday. You can now rewrite the requests from your upstream web servers to make them do whatever you want, which is hilarious. Yeah, the idea is, you know, now that you can make an archival grade, offline, reproducible, interactive computing environment with your data sets and all that stuff, you can put it onto these newfangled distributed web technologies so that you can, you know, host that stuff in the swarm. It doesn't quite yet work on Binder, and we're trying to figure out how to do that right. You can pull stuff down from, say, IPFS on Binder, but you can't host stuff from IPFS. So getting very close to something. I don't know. We've been trying to do this for like 5 years now, and it almost works.
Yeah, oh man, that is amazing. Okay, yeah, I don't know what, I'm so gobsmacked, I suppose. I don't know what else to say, but I'm excited to see more work with that. That is the last short item we have on the agenda right now, but if anyone has been inspired by two really, really, really cool celebrations, I will have about 10 seconds of silence for you to decide you want to speak up. So here we go.
Noise.
Thank you, Darian. That was fantastic. Okay, then we're moving on to the main agenda items. Oh,
that was the least words I've ever heard Darian say at once.
Yeah. Those, yeah.
Usually I need a dictionary to listen to talk to Darian, but that was good. So nice.
Only to Darian. I feel like I could say that for a lot of people here. I always learn a lot from everyone in the community. So yeah, that's impressive. Only Darian is dictionary worthy. We have several agenda items, which is awesome. Some of these have popped up recently. So I would love to get that started. Make sure we have time for each. The first one we have is Loic Terrell, I think, since apparently we had two on the call and I didn't make that clear. Are you ready to share? I can't hear you. I can see your screen share though, just so you know. Can other people confirm? Is it just me?
Yeah, I can't hear. It's just like kind of staticky.
And we can always switch if you want time to clear that up. We can start with another share and get back to you if that's okay. I'm hearing some staticky stuff now. Okay, if it's okay with you, don't panic. I would like to give you time to work on that. and we can switch to start with the other. Can you confirm in chat if you're okay with that? Thank you. And let me know if I can do anything to help you. Then next on the agenda, we have, I don't actually know this username at all. Do we have, is it, I think it was Jeremy? Jeremy was here on the next on the agenda, is that correct? I don't know if I'm seeing them here. Okay, so maybe we're moving another one down. Wonderful. Look at this. I was looking at the long agenda and getting worried. I think, Frederic, you're the next one on the list, if that, or Loic, did you get your sound back?
Is it okay now? Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I can hear you.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay,
So like
awesome.
I have like a button here and it's always pushed and I forgot about it. Sorry, so sorry.
Oh, no
So I will go
worries.
fast. So yes, I'm Loic Tetrel. So I was working on this project called NeuroLibre for quite a while now. So NeuroLibre, basically, it's a new preprint service for the neuroscience community, where we want to give access to the user interactive environment. So for example, you can see like, basically it's something like that. So you have a paper and you want to have access to like to some HTML content. And you also provide like a binder environment. So for this presentation, I just focus on one specific submission. Here you have access to also to the doc. So if you want to check it exactly what are the different steps to submit, but we are still in alpha stage. But if you want to look at it, just go ahead. Basically, when someone submits a paper, there will be a GitHub issue that will be created for him using our RoboNeuro. It's a bot, a robot. Basically, there is a reviewer who interact with this robot, and this will build submission on our test cluster. So this is where like you can see like many people interacting with this little robot, like trying to compile notebooks, and this is what you get at the end. So this robot interacts with a backend and API that I developed. So basically, here we have like a build command to our test cluster. So this API is really internal for us. This is how we interact with the Binder Hub cluster. And we have also access to all the submission or the Jupyter books here. So if we look to one specific author, which is the one I showed you, and so we have at the end this, and when we click on this little link, this will launch the Binder instance. So now we'll take a little time to explain you how I did that. So I'm in charge of all the backend, generally like the maintenance of the Kubernetes cluster, the virtualization layer, so the API and all the Binder Hub customization stuff. So in the configuration file, before what I did was to inject some code. I think it was in the Jupyter Hub, somewhere at this place. And this is where I was building the Jupyter book for the user using the user image, user environment. But now I found actually a better way to do that using Jupyter Hub extra files. So basically we have some bash scripts that can be spawned just before the user environment is spawned. So if we want to look quickly at this little script, I think I have them here. So this is the Jupyter book build process. Like I will not go into the scripts, but basically what the most important part is like this one here, Jupyter book build. So this is this process is called every time a user spawn an environment. And we can also look a little like how the cluster looks like. Yeah, so here you can see like we have one binder instance that is running. It's this one that I spawned before. And here, this is where you can interact with the code. And we have also another process. So this is not like part of this presentation, but it's like getting the data, because we also provide the data to the user. So they have access basically to a mounted folder when they have all data set available for them to run anything. So we could have like 1 terabyte of data, and the notebooks could use it. So we have this mechanism, repo to data, to get the data into our cluster, into our backend. So a user can use it after. So yes, I was quite happy to find this extra files things, because it was not easy to find that. But yeah, now it's much better. We still have issues because basically when we build the Jupyter book, we save it into our backend, and for that we need to have write access to our backend in the user environment. So that's why that's not sorry. That's why that's not ideal. And ideally, I would like to have init containers instead, but that's not possible now. So I have I think I posted in the discourse the Jupyter Hub discourse. So I posted here all the rationales and what we would need to have like an init containers running. So yes, that's it. I'm thinking if there is something else specific to this workflow. So I was assuming that you know what a Jupyter book is. So just really quickly, basically, it's a way to convert notebooks into HTML and to give a really fancy interface, really suited for publications, basically. As we can see here, we have like the chapters. We can have also like a reference, etc. Okay, that's it. So do you have any questions maybe, or suggestions?
I love seeing demos. I don't know. Well, no, I do. I don't always have as much familiarity with the fields that everyone's working in, but that's awesome to see. And I have a little bit of background on the discourse issue. I was actually looking to link it for people. I think you're talking about this one, maybe.
Let me check.
But I'm really enjoying seeing you put all these pieces of technology together to all these separate things and kind of making a unit with a process for submitting to. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's this one, yes.
So who's primarily the consumer of this in mind? Is it the author or is it the readers? Are you all trying to give more trust to the reader? I'm sure it's a little bit of both, but who does this primarily benefit? Readers, reviewers?
So definitely, like, there will be more readers than authors. Like, internet is working like that now. There are more people that read things that instead of creating things. So we expect to have more readers. In terms of like, I think it benefits a lot authors, because it allows them to, so it gives them like the trust of, okay, I have publications, I have publication, and I'm confident enough in it to share with you my code, my reproducible code, so you can test it and see that what I am showing is not is actually good, you know. So it's a way for the author to gain trust. So I think it benefits a lot authors. For the readers also, it's beneficial because it can like in one click they can have access to all the the work of the author. So they can have the figures, the interactivity with the Jupyter book, and also the binder instance for developers who want to check and maybe change some parameters, some settings, and re-execute the environment. But yeah, it's complicated to say which one does it benefit most. But yeah, it's my thought on that.
Thank you. Can I ask one more question about the author's experience with this?
Yeah, sure, sure.
A lot of these systems, I feel like you upload a paper when you're done. Is this system similar, or is it there to provide like intermediate support in some way to the author as they are doing their writing and building?
Yeah, good question. So actually, I mentioned at the beginning, it's like a preprint service, but it's actually a little more because we have all these technicalities, to make the things work. So when we have this GitHub issue, we interact a lot with the author, and this is where like we'd say to the author, okay, maybe clarify some, like there is a little technical review, but there are a lot of back and forth with the author and reviewer, and also like some technical things like if the environment is not working on NeuroLibre. So it's not as, we want to make it as more simple as possible, but still it's more complicated than just a PDF, because we have all the binder environment or the Jupyter book build. So it's crazy, like the amount of work. But yeah, we're in a way to make things really simpler, but yeah, the author will expect to be more, will need to be more involved than just a standard preprint PDF.
I have a question. How do you see the interaction of your service with other preprint services and peer review publication? Do you want to link them together? Like if you have a publication that shows some result, saying that in this publication, there is a link to run the notebook or things like this?
So I'm not like, I'm really like usually I'm the guy who develop things in the dark, let's say. So I don't have like the big overview of this project, but yeah, we are in contact with Journal of Open Science. This is where we actually got our front end running. So the front end is basically a big fork of JOS. We are also in communication with some publishing, like in neuroscience, we have this the HBM organization, which is like a big community gathering on like yeah, like a community thing, and they want to create a new journal, and this is where we will also help them to have the infrastructure. So I think the idea is mostly to give to publishing platforms, to give them some help to have their platform ready, basically, but the branding will still be on them. But now we focus on NeuroLibre. But yeah, later the plan is to share and to actually give this opportunity to other platform as well. So yeah, I mentioned Aperture. JOS may be interested in that also in the future, and there are others, but I don't remember.
Okay, I see. Thanks.
Great. I'm going to be quiet for a few more seconds, let people have room for any more questions. That's your warning for incoming. Yeah. Okay. Oh, go ahead, Laura.
Yeah, just last thing. So I think you sent like the link to the Isabella. Yeah, you sent the discourse post. So if there are some Binder Hub developer whatever that could look at it, it would be really nice, because now it's basically like the workflow I show you is like a big security breach, because we give access to our backend storage. Basically, we don't have choice. Like the init container solution is really important for us. I think we had a PR for like quite a while now, but if things can move on that side, it would be amazing also.
Do you have a link to that PR? And you can post it
Yes.
whenever. I just think it would be good to have it. Yeah.
I will find it and post it.
Okay.
Thanks.
And also, are you able to make it to any of the Jupyter Hub meetings in that case? I know sometimes they review PRs there. We have some Hub people, so let me know if I'm overstepping that. But yeah, that may also be a good place to get their thoughts on this.
Okay. I think I did like last time it was a Jupyter Hub call actually.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for a great demo and great fielding of questions. That was wonderful.
Thanks everyone.
Next on the list, we have Jupyter NAS, which I was looking at the discourse post because I remember this one showing up on Jupyter Discourse, and I don't see the person who originally spoke about it. Was anyone here planning to present on this work? Say it once more, Jupyter NAS, I think, NAAS. Yeah. Going once.
I know the person, so I can try to ping them if they would like to join maybe in a few minutes. I don't know if there is anyone else in the schedule. I haven't checked the schedule.
Yeah, we do have some others in the schedule, so we can loop back. I just wanted to check.
Okay.
Thank you. Frederic, you are the next person. Are you ready?
Yeah. Hey guys.
Hey.
So that's like going ahead a bit with the point of Ashin. So for the next major version of Jupyter Notebook, there is some challenge of porting some extension to Jupyter Lab infrastructure, and one of them is Ryze. So for people that don't know about that extension, it transforms a notebook in a slideshow. So I have started a PR to do that, and I will demo the current status. So it's still a work in progress, and the idea of showing it today is also for people. I link the PR, there is a binder link directly in it. So if you want to try it online, please do so and provide feedback, because yeah, I know to develop the extension, but I'm not a strong user of the extension myself. So that will be cool if people that are more like common user can give a try and provide feedback. So the idea is to render the notebook in another format. So it's using a JavaScript library that's called Reveal, but whatever. And so it creates a slideshow. A slideshow is defined by metadata on every cells. So the metadata can be shown here. So it's the slide type. So some can be slide. I think there is some that are sub-slide. Forget which one. Okay, some are fragments. So it will impact the flow of the slideshow. So if I go through like here, you can see that stuff appears like you expect for a slideshow. One of the power of Ryze is that it's not a static view of the notebook. So you can edit the cell. You can. I'm hit by a shortcut. That's a bug. I cannot type T. It's a shortcut. So you can run a cell if you want. It supports also then widgets. So this is just a matplotlib one, and if I want this one, it will take the matplotlib, put it in interact stuff, and so you will be able to interact. Let me hide this, so you will be able to interact. So it's really like the classical notebook you expect in terms of features, and it's just presenting it as a slideshow. We have already ported to some features like being able to have a whiteboard, being able to annotate things. So that starts to be useful, let's say. The shortcut I was mentioning, you cannot see it, but actually is popping up another window in which you can have the notes for the presenter. And okay, of course, there are some stuff that need to be improved, like this one. So one of the trouble for now is that the notebook is actually open twice, and there is no synchronization except with the file. So if you change on the notebook on one side, you may end up with that kind of warning. So that's one of the points we are working on. But yeah, mainly it's really for people to see what it looks like if you don't know the extension, and for people that already know them, please go to the PR and launch Binder and try it yourself and provide feedback of what's cool, what's not so cool, and stuff like that. And of course, what I haven't demonstrated, but that I don't think sharing will work in that case, you can transform it into a full screen presentation. And that's it for me.
It's really tricky speaking from
That was radical.
Yeah, it's tricky to develop something. Oh, is my audio being weird?
You're good.
Oh, okay. Well, it's tricky to work on something that you aren't as familiar with. So claps to you, because I've heard a lot of demand for this, and yeah, that's awesome. You've got some comments in the chat about the collaborative flag.
I do have one suggestion, Frederic. When you give that demo, I think you give it in full screen mode. Then it looks more like the classic notebook. Like I haven't seen Ryze like in lab before, which was kind of a cool experience. But yeah, it's a really great demo. Now to the collaborative part.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, Nick, the collaborative tool can at least solve some trouble of the synchronization on the file. And we are desperately waiting for having the model on the back end. It will solve everything.
Yeah. So you had mentioned, this is a fully custom application all the way down to the bottom of the DOM, or is it built on top of Retro, or how's that getting there?
Yeah, for now it's like a simplified Retro lab to just bring the notebook editors in which we are messing up for having reveal API.
Ugh. Yeah, you can't fight reveal. It will ruin your day.
Yeah, that's
Looks
the trouble. Awesome. Thanks.
Great. Any last discussion on that? Places we should share the PR so that more people who use Ryze get to try it out? Thoughts?
I have a question. In fact, how easy or how hard is it to install it locally to test it?
Should be pretty straightforward. Like I can update the node. It's like classical thing. You pip install editable mode, and then you have to install the extension. That's like the structure is a bit weird, but yeah, normally everything runs quite easily because I've already have some challenge helping Darian for installing it, so it should work. I will copy the how-to in the notes.
Cool, thanks. I'm excited to try it out because we are giving some trainings here and we are still using the notebook interface because we use Ryze due to the interactivity and the fact that it's a slideshow, so it's easier to present. And I would be excited to try it out in Jupyter Light instead.
I'm also seeing some comments for you actually in the notes document saying that this is very cool, Frederic. So. Okay, any more last thoughts? Play some kind of elevator music. Okay, awesome. Is anyone here now ready to present on Jupyter NAS? I don't think I've seen the number of participants change, but I want to give another check. Okay then. Oh, Siobhan, did you have something to say?
Oh, I was just gonna say they did not respond to my ping. So
Okay. Well, thank you so much for reaching out to them. We will have other community calls, so not the end. But awesome. Then the next person we have is actually Darian, if I'm remembering. Yeah, correctly. Are you ready to share?
Sure, yeah.
Yay.
So I think this probably doesn't come as a surprise because there's been so many public conversations, but I wanted to bring it up here as well. There is linked in the agenda a draft Jupyter enhancement proposal that we are pretty close to undrafting, I think, within 24 hours at this point. It's gone through a lot of iterations from conversations that came out of the big thread in the notebook repo to things on discourse, to things in the Jupyter Lab call, to things in the Jupyter Notebook calls, and to a few governance calls. And it is a pitch for notebook version 7, effectively being what we today call Retro Lab, because the user experience of the notebook is a thing that people have come to really value and love, and we want to be able to offer that to them with a secure, extensible code base that is compatible with Jupyter Lab, compatible with security needs, and compatible with the expertise that we have and the large developer community and code base that we have built in the past few years with Lab. And so if you are curious about the specifics of this, feel free to have a glance at the draft JEP. If you have some comments you'd like to make, please do that. And pretty soon, I think we will be opening that up to the vote of the JEP process. This will probably be one of the final Jupyter enhancement proposals that will be voted on by the original Jupyter Steering Council, because the Software Steering Council, which will be the new body that adjudicates JEPs, has been passed into governance. It just doesn't yet exist because it takes a little while to ramp that up. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thanks for the continued updates on this. Do people have questions? People have background on what's happening here?
And just as a point of information there, you know, JEPs are big and scary and all that stuff, and they are, because there are a lot of people and there are a lot of eyes, and there's a lot of people that are like making their living off of the stuff that's going into that. If you have opinions about the notebook experience and what is important to be kept, put those opinions in there, right? Because it's just a lot of us like complaining about how hard this is going to be to do it long term, which is true, right? But you know, that's not the only perspective that matters.
Yeah, that's a good point, Nick. And I think it really is, this is our best faith effort to respond to what it is that we've heard from Jupyter users about what they want when they use Jupyter, when they author notebooks, and when they interact with this ecosystem that has grown up in the last 15 years. And there's a huge community whose voices we'll likely never get to hear, because that's just how a large community works. But thanks for inviting people to communicate more. That's a good point.
Is there any corresponding place? Just I personally like to keep things all together, but I know not everyone who has opinions may have a GitHub account. I know we have a lot of people with that, but is there any kind of corresponding place for feedback right now, or is this the only place, just so we know?
This enhancement proposal has been linked also on Discourse. And I guess the only other official channels are public meetings. So it's discourse, public meetings, and the actual JEP repo. There are only so many places where we'll actually be able to consider what's being said. So I'm sure there's a lot more conversation we may have missed, but those are the ones we're actively monitoring and trying to account for.
That sounds good. I'm going to look for the Jupyter discourse link then too, just so people have that. Thanks. This is your seconds of silence to think of more things to add, everyone. Okay then. Yeah, thanks again, Darian, for the continued updates on some of the really high level stuff happening in the community. Tony, were you saying something or did my stuff go weird? Okay. We actually still have a few minutes, which surprised me because I thought we had a really full agenda, but sometimes that's how it goes and I get surprised. With all those awesome shares, we do have a little time. If someone else has kind of a spontaneous demo, any other kind of short announcements, we can loop back to that for the next few minutes. Exciting things.
I mean, a pie I'm proud of. It's not a Jupyter pie though, it's just a pie.
I mean, I think
What
that's
flavor?
worth celebration.
Here, I'll link to it.
Food.darian.link. You have your own place for posting food. That is something else. Wow. Wonderful. Anyone else have top secret recipe blogs, apparently, that they'd like to share? Okay. I will give a few more seconds of silence. Oh, yeah.
Has anyone ever seen the Cooking for Engineers site? It has probably the best recipe visualization I've ever seen. It's like a big grid that has merged cells. And so it's like, mix this and sift this and then put them together in a bowl. And it's sort of got a visual representation for it. It's brilliant.
That's cool. Let's check it out. Okay. And no, Tony, it sounded like you were going to say something again. I'm not trying to cut you off or cut.
Oh, it's all right. I just wanted to do like my recent announcement about Shift R in the notebook and Jupyter Lab with the side-by-side cell view. I was actually wondering if that was going to work in Ryze now that I mention it. But there's a new feature where you can, if you're outside of cell editing mode and you hit Shift R, you get side-by-side input and output. I really like it. And I figured some other folks might, so I'd let y'all, figured that's worth sharing.
Do you have a quick demo? You can say no. That sounds like a no, though I think I did find the issue for y'all. And we do have someone on this call, I think, that worked on this. Here y'all go. Great. Well, I am not here to make you all sit in silence. So I am happy to wrap it up then, unless we have any final thoughts. That was definitely a call packed full of really cool demos though. So thank you all so much for a great November call. I will also be linking, you can always give feedback on this call if I can get the link to you successfully, which is always a thing. Yeah, sorry, I thought we'd have another moment. You can always give feedback on the call here. And like I said at the beginning, we will not be doing the December call because we'd have to do it early in December and you all just great shares now, so I thought it might be a good time to give everyone a rest as we have various winter holidays. But we will be starting up again in January, so get excited for that, rest well, and get ready for the new year, y'all. Thank you so much for your time and a year of great calls. See ya.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.